18, I think.
I don't
Okay.
I source
So
all
we
the time
probably
now.
have to
because I
talk
buy
to Jared
stuff.
and see
Yeah, I
how
know
that
you
So
could
I'm always
work,
on the
you
hunt
know,
for
from
it.
that other
Like
location.
this was a,
Should.
this I'm actually gonna sell, but I'm test driving
Be
it.
able to get
because
some
of
phones,
the-
put them there and be on. their
How about that
systems.
mixture?
And then any other IT
One.
stuff that
I don't
you
know
need
if
to
we're gonna
access, you know, so
Oh.
we can make sure to
I've
provide
never
you the
seen
right
it.
info.
No, maybe.
Hey, do you mind?
Sorry, made you ready? Hi.
We ready?
Are
We ready for that? All set, okay. We'll call the Information Technology Committee meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. And the first order of business is to accept minutes for the May 20th, 2020. Right, apologize. Moved by Dave, second by Sam. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next we have the Information Technology Board. And I'll turn it over.
Okay, so the first report that you folks have in your packet, is it the projects report? Yes, projects, okay. There's not a ton of change, everything has continued to move forward, but we haven't added or completed this month. So, I don't know if anyone has any questions on any that are continuing?
I have one.
Sure.
The timekeeping software upgrade,
Yeah.
what is that?
That
We
is.
just put in a new timekeeping system a couple years ago, didn't we?
Several years ago.
Yeah, several years ago. What
So
happened?
back when I started, it wasn't new even back then, but we redid and fixed the database. We went through a whole cleanup process. Back then, we moved from on-premise to the cloud. Since we did that, this current software that we use is end of life as of the end of this year. Thought we had till 27, we didn't. We have till the end of this year to move off of it to the new version. So it's the same vendor we've been working with, same company, different version of the software. So they're going through the process right now of building it for us. It's not as involved as the last time. Fortunately, all the hard work we put in last time to build all the rules and everything can just be transferred over into this new system. So they're
Okay, now
rebuilding it.
I'm totally ignorant on software and this kind of technology. So my question is, and I know you can answer it.
Sure.
Why is there an end of life on software?
They have different versions of software and they'll decide whether they want to continue to develop and move forward with one or many.
But
And
why
most of
not,
them are
why
focusing on one.
move anywhere? Once it's in, it's like a clock. You wind it up and it's running. As
Well,
long
that's
as you wind it
true.
every morning, why?
Progress made on development of software, make it more secure, give it more functions. And so on.
Yeah, but why couldn't you just keep it the old way?
Because
Same
you wouldn't make
functions
it,
you
you wouldn't
had.
make any money.
Time
Sell it,
changes
I'm
all
done.
circumstances.
That is so irritating,
Okay.
technology.
Marcy's right, being a software, not a software company and develop software. The tools you have can antiquate it with the progress that's being made. In some languages, can't convert to use next technology, so you gotta forget one technology and go to another technology. When it used to be Fortran, but Fortran almost doesn't exist anymore.
Even Windows, if you look back, you
Windows.
know, you get, you know, started off with Windows, what, 95 and 98,
Windows 10.
ME, XP, 7, 2000 stuck in there.
And Dave, let's not even mention COBOL.
Yeah, but
10
you
and now
know,
11.
I guess what I'm looking at is a time clock. It's
You
so
know, Tom?
basic.
Yes.
You
Well-
punch in, you punch out. Let's not add a thing to it.
And we're not changing out physical time clocks. The physical time clocks that we have are all staying the same. It's just the software end that they talk to is what's changing. So it's all on the software and how they're read. It's gonna be a really nice system. It's
Well,
all
this
set.
new system, how long will that last? And I'm not criticizing you. I'm just frustrated with technology.
Of course.
We're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on technology that has to be upgraded every 3 years. We're paying a license fee. Are we really any better off than if we just used paper and, you know, a runner to go through the halls or something than the hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Now,
So I can offer you a little bit of solace, I think. My office is a great example of embracing technology. When I came to the county in '94, The treasurer's office had 13 employees. I now have 6 full-time and 2 part-time. And it's completely, and I would say it has nothing to do with my management skill. It's completely through efficiencies that we've obtained through the different software systems. So, I mean, we used to have 3 people in payroll. We now have 1.5. I used to have 3 principal account clerks. I now have 1. So, and we've been able, so my office is a great measurement place to show the return on your investment in technology, I think.
Melissa?
I want to go even a little bit further. So with the Department of Labor and all the laws that are out there right now, by having those electronic timekeeping systems, it helps make sure that we're giving the employees the breaks that they need, lunch breaks. I mean, that could cost the county tons of money liability wise, right? So there's things that are out there that make it regulations and laws that make these electronic timekeeping systems, I mean, a benefit to us as an employer.
And you have a record of.
You have a record of it.
Efficiencies
They
and
help us with
consistency
compliance.
Sure.
and reporting.
We have several stone quarries in Fort Union, and I'm sure you'd be glad to sell those stones and chisels so we can go back in time and get it all recorded. And then we walk around hurting our backs carrying the stones, so.
That's workers' comp, so no.
Oh, there you go.
And I have one other question.
Sure.
I got in here 10 minutes early, so I was really studying. Normally I.
Oh, that's
Um,
good.
The first one, the
Mhm.
CAD mobile system replacement.
Yep.
Said you're 30% through, but it says public safety and the sheriff is looking for a replacement. Well, how can you be 30% and you don't even have the software to put in?
Well, we have the software, so that was just the description of the project. So we're working with the vendor currently. So we signed all the paperwork. I guess I could update the description, but it's been on here since we started looking for the actual vendor to use.
So you got the vendor.
Yeah, we chose the vendor at the end of last year. We kicked off the project November last year. And we will be live with a new product in March of next year, March of 26.
Thank you.
It's a big project.
And no, I haven't, there's no soul that's come out of that.
And kudos to the sheriff and the public safety team because they, in addition to doing all their full-time work and all the stuff they do, and it's a really busy season, are finding the time to work with this very demanding vendor. And demanding is a good thing. I don't say that in a bad way at all, because they're keeping us on task and moving forward, but it's a lot of work. Lot of work.
I'll give you the cost of 13 full-time employees, Mr. Shaw, and the breakage will make you happy.
Yeah.
Okay, great discussion on the projects before. Let's move to ticketing.
Okay, any questions on the ticketing report? Pretty standard.
Questions about cybersecurity?
So cybersecurity report, the things I would mention there is, Ryan was talking about the conferences or a conference down in Albany that he went to, for New York State for the cybersecurity and AI, another really good conference. He has a picnic coming up that he's gonna be attending for the seniors. That'll lead into a couple of other business items I have in a moment, but, one thing I wanted to mention from a cybersecurity standpoint, because it happened to me personally, and I just think it's kind of interesting, and I don't know how many people might have thought about it. I don't know how many people buy used vehicles. So you buy a used vehicle, right? I just bought a new vehicle and sold my old vehicle. My old vehicle had an app, so I could do remote starts, it was a Ford, all that stuff, right? I have interestingly watched the progress of my vehicle after I sold it to the wholesale lot in Rhode Island, Massachusetts. It's now sitting in Michigan. And it's just really interesting to think that I still have this app and that I can still see where my vehicle is. And I guess I say that to say, if any of you buy vehicles, anybody buys a used vehicle, it's another piece of technology that maybe we don't ever think about, is how many people know the location of that vehicle that you just purchased.
Can you start it?
Yeah, because
I can.
started.
I can. I can still start it too. Yeah, I can
Well,
check the gas, know how far it drove. Yeah.
Terry, if you take that one step further, let's say you bought a used vehicle, how do
Yeah.
you make sure that that's not on your vehicle?
That's a great question. I think every car will be different, probably resetting the computer system or something within their technology. Just something I never thought about it. And I was like, wow, that's kind of, you buy a car and feel a little insecure and you got people that can know exactly where you are every minute of the day.
Drive people who do all the crazy, start that car.
Started, yeah, keep starting it. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. So more of a personal little thing I wanted to mention.
Any other discussion?
Yeah. Any questions on cybersecurity or?
Okay,
Yes, I do.
Alright.
You got time for a question?
Sure.
And this doesn't pertain to the county.
Mhm.
Last week, my credit card got hacked. It got hacked in January and they sent me a new card. Now it got hacked again last week. And I didn't know it until I get my credit card bill. And I had 3 charges to Amazon.
Hmm.
So I called Amazon and they verified that I didn't buy them. I don't even have this credit card on file with Amazon. How can you buy something on Amazon with a stolen credit card, have it mailed to or someplace, mailed to and billed to me? How does that work in technology? I mean, I don't understand. I said to the
Might have
credit
used
card company, when I called them, I said, am I doing something wrong? And they
you
said,
might have
no.
used it somewhere else.
Well, to buy gas, minor things, I do that, but how do they take it and buy something on Amazon? Cause they want, when you shove that card in there and for gas, you don't get the code off the back.
Right.
Unless there's, what do you call those? things? Skimmers.
Skimmers would.
Yeah.
So if you put it into a gas pump and skimmers are more and more and more common around. So for all of you, something to think about, or for everybody that's out there is, when you go to gas pumps or go places that you use your card. If it has a skimmer on it, it reads every single card that gets put through and they're local. I've seen them locally. So I know that they're certainly around at different gas pumps, and gas stations are the biggest culprit. Personally, I like to use Cumberland Farms and use the app to pay. You never have to touch a gas pump. You don't have to worry about skimmers or any of those kind of things. You just go around, tell your app, okay, I want to buy it now, turns the pump on.
The
You
problem
can
with
tell you're an IT, you got an app for everything.
I do.
I've got that same app, but then when I go, I don't go enough to remember the procedure.
Yeah.
So I can't get it to work.
But there are skimmers. There's also, depending on what you have online for accounts. Like if you have any accounts that maybe you have it stored in that aren't protected by multi-factor authentication, they can compromise your account, get your passwords, get your credit cards, and get personal information that you probably don't want shared out there.
The other thing that can happen, if you use your credit card on a computer.
Yep.
There could be Trojans on the computer,
Yeah.
stealing information, you put it in.
If you get infected, they could be scraping every keystroke that you make. They get everything from you.
And another
So
one
many
is,
different ways.
Companies or organizations get hacked.
Yeah.
Frequently it happens with medical organizations and so on. I know one of mine did. And they got everything.
Yeah, and once it's out there, it's out there. Goes into a bank of all stolen card numbers and then they try them out, see what they usually will make small purchases like that, see if they can get away
Oh,
with it.
yeah, there was 2 small ones. One was in Pennsylvania for an Uber driver
Yeah,
delivering food, and another one was cheese RD delivering in Pennsylvania.
wow, yep,
I had one time I caught being hacked, and I called the bank. She says, I'm glad you called because they're using it right now.
wow.
Wow.
That's another big, like, just financial statement I would make is when you order things online, use a credit card. Do not use your debit card.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Credit card all the time. It's much easier if you get compromised to not pay a bill than to have your account emptied and wait for months to get the money back if you get it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Change the subject slightly. Our fishing staff seems to be relatively flat. We get, between 350 and 400 a month, very long, between the two. Is our response to those, and I'm talking about the employees, you do testing
Yeah.
stuff, is our response getting better? Because it looks like
between 14 and 9 doesn't look huge to me. Or is that
Yeah.
good, or do we need to get better? Or
It is good. I mean, I'd love to have it be 0, but even the difference between 14 and 9 is pretty big. I mean, it's only 5, but it's almost half.
That's 9 people in the county that responded to something that could have compromised the county.
Yeah,
That
well,
seems like 9 important press.
that's why we would love it to be 0. That's the goal, is to have it be 0. Because each of those 9 that clicked are ones that could have potentially compromised the county.
Are there steps we can take to make that better, or do you think,
Yeah.
right, Ryan seems to work pretty hard on the patient, I like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the way to work on that really is continuing to do education, bring cyber awareness, and encouraging people to submit things when they see it, and to think before they click. And it's really about building that culture. It's not an overnight thing. It's something that I think we're doing a good job at, and that we need to continue to do, but to continue to build that culture within our organization.
So 9, as far as you're concerned, 9 is a good number.
I think it's pretty good from where we are.
Okay.
Would I like to be better? Yes, I
Compared to
think we
what-
can always.
compared to what you did. I
Yeah.
really admit, but 9 still seems scary.
It is scary, no question.
All right.
Yeah.
Any stats on how many of those 9 are repeats? Are all 9 the same person?
So they're not all the same person. I believe they're separate, but the other thing that we're working on right now is modifying our phishing so that we have 1-time clickers, 2-time clickers, and 3-time clickers, where maybe we can have some other, when somebody does click on something more than once, like they get the 2-time or 3-time, and they're gonna come back for some additional training. And be able to, the software we use actually has some smart groups that we can utilize now to be able to do that.
Well,
You kind of touched on my question. Do the 9 know they failed, and is there follow-up to educate them
Yes.
to not do it again?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, when they fail, it'll say, this was a phishing simulation, here's what you should have done, and they give them a little education right there and then, so hopefully they're not repeating, but.
Because maybe rewatching that, the recorded video is beneficial, like some additional training on those 9, you know what I mean? It's worth the investment, I think.
Exactly. Yep, I agree.
Report all the emails you get.
So
Better safe than sorry.
I've reported some that weren't malicious, but I'd rather report too many than not enough.
Agreed.
It's
We'd
hard.
rather have it that way
It's really,
too.
it's really hard.
I report everything from video.
That's why I don't send you anything.
okay, moving on, out-of-state travel.
Yeah, I'd like to make a request for out-of-state travel for our cybersecurity officer to attend the Falcon conference, which is for the Falcon CrowdStrike software that we use for cybersecurity, out in Vegas in September. The travel was in my travel plan last year and it's in the budget. So,
Move it, Chairman.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
And that requires a resolution. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everything. information.
what's that?
If you can send me the information.
Sure. Did you need the cost and stuff? Or what do you need for just the information?
Just the.
Yeah, state where-
Just where?
Who and
Okay.
where.
Who and where?
Okay. Cool.
I bet it's cheaper to fly to Vegas than it is Chicago. They got 2 flights a day, I'll pay it, they get to Vegas.
Then, yep, other business is I have a request to use the county logo. We have it in our budget. We'd like to get some, we're leaving magnets at this point right now when we go out to like the senior picnic and those type of places to continue to, spread cybersecurity awareness. We'd like to have the magnets to give along with a flyer and everything to try to really help engage our community, especially our seniors, I think are some of the most vulnerable people from this perspective, and anything we can do to try to get some stuff out there.
This is Vegas to erase the memory on your cell phone.
Yeah. We actually have a really nice, at least I think it is anyway, it's safe. And I'd have to look up exactly what it stands for now, but the word is safe and it talks about being, aware as far as cyber goes. I should have written it down for you. But also, were you expecting the email? Or were you expecting this call to action? If it's a quick call to action, think about it twice. I just think it's a nice word to be able to make them think about it. And maybe if they have it, and this may sound silly, but maybe if they have it on their refrigerator, and somebody calls them and they're talking on the phone to Microsoft, they'll see it and say, whoa, wait a minute, you know, that's the hope. You know, to couple that with discussion and with a flyer and just continue to get the word out to everybody, I think. It's just important. I know how badly they can be taken.
And Terry, what will be on the magnet besides the logo?
So the logo and then the little word safe with it spelled out. I could actually,
Say, no,
Yeah.
I'm just curious. And now, and this is not a big deal because we have a lot of county representatives down there in departments. If they're all buying magnets, would it be better to buy them together? Would you get a better deal? I mean, you never know what is gonna be handed out. Have you ever thought to maybe look at it? Or if you have a department meeting, but say, hey, is anybody buying magnets?
they'd have to be identical to get like a break on the pricing. So it's not just the logo. So what we were gonna have is safe online. So the S is stop, slow down, and think before you act, especially if a message feels urgent or requests personal information.
Okay,
The A is ask. If something seems suspicious, ask a trusted friend, family member, or professional for help. The F is familiar, to stick to familiar websites and business when shopping or handling sensitive information. And E is encryption. Check for HTTPS and the padlock symbol in the web address to ensure the website's secure. So it was a little something to get them. to
yeah.
Take a look at things.
Other businesses.
That's all I have today.
Uh,
You approve or into the logo?
oh. Motion to approve the logo, okay. Sam and Charlie. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passed. Okay. And there's no other business, we're adjourned.
Well, thank you all.
Yep.
Okay, all set.
Let's call the Government Ops meeting to order. First order of business is to accept the minutes of the May 20th meeting, first by Sam, second by Jim. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
County attorney.
It's the outside litigation budget, which is at this point mostly construed as the tax foreclosure litigation that's currently pending in federal court. I'm just about at my $15,000 limit. I'm looking to transfer breakage from the vacant assistant county attorney position. Just to cover litigation through the end of the year. When we have a policy now, we want to make sure the account is got funds in it before we overdraw. And unfortunately, this is 1 year with outside litigation. Sometimes you eat the bears and sometimes the bear eats you. And this is one of those years that the bears can eat us, at least temporarily. I can say there is a motion to dismiss pending the federal court action, which we don't have a decision on yet. Obviously, if that's granted, that makes life a little easier for a little while.
Any questions?
Might be able to offer an option too. My bankruptcy costs have slowed down a little bit. And I was wondering if maybe you want to send me those bills and let me pay it out of my legal counsel line. It's an option. I might have enough to cover, considering it's for tax foreclosure defense that we're incurring the cost. I do have a legal line and I've been able to get the cost down working with my bankruptcy attorneys. That's an option
I'll
too.
certainly take that as an option, whatever you think is easier. I mean, you transfer maybe not as much, just to make sure I've got a pad for the rest of the year.
Okay. Whatever you need, I just wanted to throw that out.
But I'll do whatever's you think is best.
Does this go to finance?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Dan, do you usually 15,000 is enough or is it?
15,000 is
Seems
usually
low.
enough. It has been for a number of years. But just the nature of this litigation, keep in mind, this is just our share of it. There's 11, 12 other counties involved in it as well. One or two particular firms.
This is the one basically going retroactively to the
Yeah,
surplus.
it's part of the whole Hennepin aftermath. With the surpluses and whatnot. I said, most years we usually put in about 15,000 every year. We almost never had it, but this year is one of those years, unfortunately, that we've done so.
In this motion, do we need a number? Or do you want to say you'll have a number for finance if there's,
The latter makes sense to me.
yeah, that's what I thought. So I make a motion, move it to finance with a number to be presented then.
Motion by David, second by Lance. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
County administration.
Travel policies.
Good
On the
morning.
spot today.
I'm on the spot. Good morning. So, there is a Washington County overnight travel policy in your packet that has been updated. Why are you laughing at me?
We either exempt it, override it, or change it every year. So I mean, I'm just chuckling. I'm wondering which way it's going this time.
Well, okay. It has been, I think, several years since this one has been updated. One of the changes to the policy, actually applies to what Terry's request was in the committee meeting prior to this one. We did take out the approval for the overnight travel, out of state. She brought it to committee. It was already in her travel plan. It's already been budgeted. I don't know if you really find it necessary to approve it again at this point. That was something that was in the policy and that was taken out going forward. The other difference that you're going to see is I wanted to start having credit cards for people that are attending conferences overnight. A lot of times these hotels are looking for the credit card that was used to make the reservation when you check in. And it causes issues when you don't have that credit card with you. I think you've experienced that, or some of us have in the past.
Yeah, I experienced it, even though the county's credit card was in my name, I still experienced an issue because I didn't have it on me.
Right. So we do have a process where once this is approved for the overnight travel, we will supply the credit card to the employee. They have to actually sign, what the use of the card is, and the card has to be safe and used responsibly. But that I think will make the overnight travel a little bit easier for people attending conferences and hotels.
And we have the ability to set the amount on the card so that the card only works up to a certain level. So we can control how much is on the card anyway.
Correct. And then the card, of course, would be
And then
returned.
the card gets returned.
So I am just looking to update that policy and looking for approval to do so.
Take a motion. Move it, Sam, second by Jim.
Just clarification, what is it? We're doing the credit card. I understand that. What else, when you said about, do we have to review any travel policy outside the state if it's in the budget? Is that being changed in here?
It was
too?
taken out.
It was taken out.
Yeah, a
Okay.
couple years ago, you requested to have the department heads bring to their budget workshops their travel
Mhm.
plans, right, for the year.
Mhm.
So at that point, you're looking to see all the conferences they're planning on attending. And if it's approved at that point, they don't have to bring it back to committee. They might bring it as an FYI that they're going to a conference, but they don't need approval again unless it's an out-of-state travel, which I don't know that it really makes any difference. If it's budgeted and it's already approved, do you really want to hear about it again? I mean, they can tell you they're going to Ohio for a cybersecurity conference, but just seems like we're going around and around.
Well, I think it's good that we hear it again. Number one, I'm not saying you have to approve it again, but it's good to know when
when they're
somebody
out.
going on the state on something. But if you take it one step further and it's in the budget and you approved it last August or September, well, it's approved in November, but I mean, we approved it in the workshop. Then you come this year here and we got the gloom and doom picture of 20, now I've heard it's up to almost 25% increase in the budget this year. Brian mentioned it was over 20, it might be 23, 24. He said the other day. Would it be wise to have the option to say, gee, maybe we can't afford it, maybe we need to save that money and roll into fund balance, but it helps us for the budget for next year, if it's gloom and doom.
Well, you can control the budget anytime, obviously, right through the year with any expenses, but I would caution, I mean, there aren't that many overnight travels out of state. A lot of times when they are, they're actually paid for by a grant. That's the case as well. But I
This
mean,
isn't, is it, the one for Terry?
I don't know, honestly, it's cybersecurity, so there's a possibility.
Yeah, so no, I'm asking that, I'm not promoting it or opposing it, I'm just throwing that out there as a thought.
In some cases, we have departments that being able to do their job depends on them being credentialed through the different organizations. Sometimes what we've had is that instead of them going every year to try to help with the budgets that go every year. So now if we come along and all of a sudden we say, no, you're not gonna go this year. Well, then we're gonna have the departments be shut down because they need that accreditation to do their work. I just think that we've already approved it once. I don't think we need to.
So I think especially with cybersecurity and some other technologies, we need the training to keep up to date. And this is so fast paced. And what they're doing with cybersecurity and raiding into things is so quick, changed so quick. We need the best technology to keep up or it could cost us a lot more money. Robert?
Well, yeah, we can talk about specifics here. Well, this is a general concept. The other thing that happens here is that over the authorization form, there's still either a department head or me, or depending on who's going, approving this when it happens. If we did have a situation that Dan's referring to, we did do the general thing saying, hey, you know, all overnight travel that you're asked to approve, you talk to the committee about, talk to the budget officer or whatever, we can do that easily, just in a general thing. We don't need to pick out the specific one.
Right.
I think it's really nice that you come to the committee and say, hey, we're going to the veterans thing, I'm gonna get re-upped here and everything, that's great, but, you know, this continual approval, I mean, this is another approval, second level right here, so.
And that's a good point. I mean, all of these are signed by either the chairman or myself, for the overnight travels.
I just didn't want to see it get to a point where somebody's job is dependent on it. Doesn't go because all of a sudden we realize we're behind on the budget and we're saying, no, this is not something you need to go to. But in essence, they do.
You're right.
That's what I'm concerned with.
Well, I totally agree with you, but I also know I don't want us to go to 35% increase in taxes. So I'm always looking at being very cautious about this in any way we can resolve it to where it's fair and affordable for the taxpayers. I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas.
No, I
I'm not
understand.
saying I'm pushing it. I'm just saying.
And I would
think it
hate to
needs
see us ever get to a point where we find conferences to be an expense that's not worth it, because that's where we get our knowledge. That's how we know what's going on with other agencies, what the state's putting out there. That's where we get those resources. Otherwise, we're kind of in our own bubble. And I think we're putting ourselves in a situation where we may not have the knowledge that's needed to do our jobs.
Travel expenses are what's killing us here.
Good
I-
point.
Charlie?
Just a off question, if we're using credit cards and people are staying in hotels, who gets the reward benefits?
The county, it's a county's
It
card.
goes to Chairman.
So that's why you're on those cruises though.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of first.
That's what his budget officer's on cruises all the time.
Hey, wait a minute.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Gary?
Thank you.
Buildings and grounds, parks.
Parks. um, Weekends have been open. They were supposed to open full-time yesterday. This was a. Oh, go ahead. Oh, long story short, Lauderdale did not open yesterday. Due to a snafu in our park manager's, schedule. He thought it opened the following week. So it is open today. It's a weird year because in order, we always open after graduation, but graduation is late this year. So we have a hard time staffing the park this week. It's always, the park is a certain thing. So we had talked about it earlier. I talked about it with Bob maybe a few months ago. And we decided to limp it through this week just so it was open. And our phone has never rang so much. So I'm sure yours did over in Salem. How about yesterday being 90 whatever degrees and the park wasn't open? But it is open today and limping through. It's not normally like this, with the graduation coming after the park opens, but we worked with what we had, so just so you know.
I'm not sure what your valley with, but how are we doing with lifeguards?
We're doing okay. I mean, our outreach has really worked out good. Hewlett's is continuing to be strong with labor up there. I credit that to Jen, not that her daughter was a lifeguard, but she's Whitehall and in the sports program and all her friends, so they start talking, and that's how we always end up with, lifeguards up there. They talk, and we're full staffed up there. Lauderdale, we're getting there. We have a full staff right now. There's a little bit of give, obviously they're students and they have summer programs, so they're gone this week, so it makes you a little bit short, but we're comfortable right now. So other than that, for Lauderdale, the 20-year contract, Bob signed that not too long ago, and it gets sent back for them to countersign with the last copy to us, so that's taken care of.
Matt, I didn't get a chance to look at that yet. Were there any changes from what we talked about before?
Just that they had the wrong lawyer's name in, so I called them, and when they got back to me, they said just cross it out and write the right information in, that's what I did. I sent that to you just for, yes, they're gonna send it back, but who knows on their time, so I just gave it to you.
Was there any change regarding the log cabin?
That's not, it was the same draft that we.
So it's just that we're leasing it for another 20 years and no additional
And
migration?
we're working on, right, we have to work with them separately
Okay.
to get the money. That wouldn't be part of the operating, they wouldn't put it part of the operating contract for the next 20 years.
Thank you.
No problem. Another thing, Lauderdale came up. We actually discussed it last fall. I sent the bill up for the sonar treatment. We did discuss that some last fall. It's a triennial treatment. And we always pay our share, which is, the total was about 38,000. Ours is 4,000 every 3 years. I just pay it out of the repair and maintenance budget, which I have. When we sent it up, Stacy sent it back down. She's like, I don't think you brought it to committee yet. And I thought I did last fall, so I just need to get that approved. We already got the bill and it's sitting there. And she may already process it, I don't know. It might have been just a no, but it's, if it's something that we don't want to contribute to, we would probably have to have, a resolution and let them know in advance to when they procure it. And that, we welcome that discussion next, it'll be 3 years from this spring again. Go ahead, Bob.
We get quite a lot of benefit out of that with our, in the beach area for you.
Yeah.
Weeds and stuff makes it a lot easier for just not nicer experience. I just always wondered how broken up, is it by length of shoreline? Is that how they?
It's not by length of shoreline because we would be paying,
Half of it.
yeah, we'd be paying half of it, so, I think that's, I would have to ask again how they broke it up.
I just didn't know. It doesn't sound like a bad number to me.
It's been the same number right along, but,
Maybe the state pays so much and then the rest is divvied up.
Yeah, but
yeah, the state doesn't pay for anything either.
But they do.
It's the homeowners association. That lake is what, I think it's, Bob could probably tell you much more, but it's not a state-owned water like many of the other ones, right? It shows like our property out in the middle and other people's come right to
Yeah, the
it.
property goes underneath it.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I don't know the whole details, but
But the water belongs to the United States. Or the people in Europe.
It's still state rate.
yeah.
What is the
However,
total amount? If we pay 4,000 for 3 years, you said?
Yes, 4,000, not 4,000 total for the one treatment, if the treatment's once every 3 years.
Once every 3 years.
Yep.
Oh, so it's one treatment is 4,000 and they
Yes.
happens every 3 years.
Every
And
3
what's the
years.
total? The cost of the treatment?
It's like 38,000. I don't have that number.
No, that's
I just
okay.
have- Oh, yeah, I do. Actually, $35,957.34.
Charlie?
I do that.
What are the species of sonars targeting? What is the problem?
It's, milfoil is the biggest one. And then there's, yeah, curly pondweed is the other. They're the two biggest ones.
So is there thought about using the, said Procellacor with an alpha,
The one we use and then.
more eradicating, working well?
I
Like,
would,
we're not targeting.
yeah,
That's a homeowners
it's
association.
the homeowners association, which they do welcome, and I think I got, the first time. You know, I mean, they did invite me to their annual meeting this year, which they never would before, so,
They'll never make me, so.
yeah.
And you know, Charlie, if you change the, whatever it is, the treatment, it probably all have to be approved by the state again, and that could take 2 or 3 years. I don't think
Sonar's
they
approved by the state.
It would have to be, wouldn't it?
Easily, they're all already cleared.
They're,
Sonar is an older. regime.
yeah, you're right. The subcontractor does all the DEC permitting for this, for them. I can definitely bring that to them and ask the question and start the conversation. I know, you know, up north, that's been a conversation up there pretty heavily on the lake, so.
Does this have to go to finance or is this can be
I don't
authorized?
think I've ever brought it to finance. It's in the budget.
I'll move it then.
By Jim, second by Jim. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I,
Carried. What else? The updates on the barns?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, making sure I'm done with the parks. Oh, I didn't bring my thing, so. I didn't bring
I
that.
forgot it.
No, and actually, we're up in Hewlett's, we are, just finishing up. Updating the cabin, it's not done, but every year we've been just putting a little more money toward the cabin out of the budget. We haven't asked for more. I know the guys were painting today or something up there. Trying to finish up part of it, just to keep that cabin in good shape. All right, so for the barns, we'll start with Fort Ann. Sam's half, 60% of it got poured last week, the concrete did. Thursday, the county's half gets poured, the floor. It did come out good. It looks really good. Pretty good sight to see and watch a professional company be able to pour 140 yards. And not that they don't break a sweat, but they don't get nervous, you know, 140 yards is a big pour and they rotate their guys, like they just go in and out, in and out. And at the end of the day, you've got a big floor. There's a lot of people working on the site every day. There's probably close to 40 to 50 people working, so we are making progress. Praying from giving you a hard date, but I'm still looking at September for to be able to start moving our stuff, up there out of our old barn. I would like to present to finance, just a financial update on it. I'd like to sit down and talk. I got a pretty good spreadsheet going, but I don't want to bring it until I go over it with Al, make sure, you know, he agrees with everything. And it's just a way to keep up. Same with Middle Falls, we're our big holdup was the fire suppression tank, and that will be delivered the 7th, set with a crane, backfilled by the end of the week, so they can start building a little pump house on top of it. I would say our newest kind of hurdle is actually getting Spectrum there to set up our account. I guess it's not like, I've been working with Terry, she's pushing pretty hard on them. It's not like your house when you call and they just come schedule an appointment next week and they run the wire. There's like supposedly a 60 to 90-day lead time for the business account, which is kind of ridiculous. So she's pushing on them pretty hard to try to get that. Because in today's world, which is, you know, a big surprise, I've been working with Mike Trackey and everything too. How much is automated in new buildings and everything from, you know, pumps and boilers and heating and building management to fire systems. Our gas pumps, you know, we can't start divvying out gas and having people come until we can track it. You know, it takes a connection to track it, so. My fear is everything's gonna be ready. We're just gonna be waiting on Spectrum. So we're trying to get ahead in Fort Ann, learning this 60 to 90-day lead time. And, you know, we can order it now. They want the conduit all the way down to the road to the pole before they even come look at it. Even though they're not coming in 90 days. So I did give this morning the, go ahead, they're gonna dig the trench and have that put in this week. So we can at least get it scheduled and be ahead of it and Fort Ann.
But the epoxy floor, you said you had to get humidity down.
So we're starting another test today. See where we're at. I worked with the heating contractor. I'm thinking by this time next week, he'll actually have, you know, water in the boilers and everything, and we're gonna try to trick it out and put some heat in for it. If this doesn't pass, yeah, try to dry it out so we don't have to wait on that. I'm hoping it passes this time. I guess I don't really, you know, you don't know until you do it. I mean, you can't look at it and visually just tell. So. Otherwise, I mean, they're both moving fast and it's just a lot of coordination right now. A lot of contractors trying to do a lot of things at the end. If you can imagine, they're all spread out and they're coming down, you know, coming down the path of finishing and they all want in and they all want to finish before this one now. So there's a lot of coordination actually at all three projects right now.
So are we looking like the middle of July for Middle Falls Barn or even the end
Well,
of July?
I would say middle of July. We're waiting on the update amount.
Right.
Yeah, I looked right before I came to see if there was a response from the pressure she was putting on Spectrum yesterday, see if they could speed it up. It wasn't in my inbox yet. So.
Thank you.
Are you doing any paving around the walls?
It's already done.
Yes.
Yep.
This, we have a building, we're waiting on Spectrum as well. We're holding off on the paving because we're not sure where the conduit will go.
Okay, yeah, we already got the conduit buried and
Oh,
everything
you do?
there, string, it's one of the easiest jobs they'll ever have for the connection. You know, they can hook to it and just pull it right through and they're there, but.
And then they start making money and why don't they get it in?
Yeah, I think that, I don't understand, yeah, there's a lot I don't understand about IT, so if you can ask Terry and Mike, you know, and there's things like, Mike's been in the business a long time and. Like, you know, him coming to our project to understand this new garages and all the stuff that goes on, the cameras, fobs and everything. He's like, this is so much different than, but he was also very impressed with the fact that it's all in the scope of work for electricians, and electricians are now very versed in control work. So he's walking in to plug in ready stuff. You know, like when they mount a camera, the plug's right there. They don't have, there's, our IT won't have to run the wires. They've already got the boxes for our IT to put their equipment in. It's all there, so I think it's been a learning curve for both departments, IT and myself.
It looks nice around there too. I mean,
Yes.
everything, it looks very nice.
That was, some professional companies down there, and I acted and worked in a professional, way. And we're gonna get there with Fort Ann. Fort Ann's gonna look, I mean, if you guys have been down to see that, Fort Ann's gonna look the same and it's gonna be the same. It just was a little bit harder path to get there, but you're gonna end up with the same product, so. That's all. I guess I could, we're going, we are probably thinking on about mid-July, the latest schedule update. So I had scheduled, Tina, the way I'm doing it was public health was gonna be the month of August. So from the first to the end, I know they do the fair, we set up fair. So I kind of given it a month to move, and then WIC would be the month of September. And that way, my guys are gonna work with Tina and say, okay, what people can go this week and, work separately until the next crew, and we can kind of accomplish it that way. I don't see a problem right now with anything finishing up over there. I've been pushing July 1st. I'm the mean guy, but I think we're gonna do the second week of July finish up. They're scrambling to try to get July 1st, but I know, looking at the schedules, they're not gonna be able to meet it. Although today I do know they're prepping for paving, so you're gonna start seeing binder and pavement going down probably by the end of the week. That's just the outside look, but we're getting there. I do have like a financial update that I'm really confident in over there. Right now, our mechanical contractor is in their contract 75% done. Now that was up to last month's payment. Payment app will begin the new pay app this week. The site, it shows 43%. That's dollar, that's a dollar amount. Paving that's gonna happen this week that goes on the next one is gonna shoot that right up to probably 85, 90%. Our plumbing contract, 68%. Bill, our electric is also 66%. So they're all right there. That's backing them up. I'd say they're all pretty much in their 80% build area. So, you're coming down the home stretch. Currently in those contracts, we had, contingency built in. As of current, the mechanical, we're still good, 45,800. Plumbing, we're good, 5,000. There was a couple bigger change orders for the plumbing that had to do with the fire suppression system. Then electric, we're 35,000 to the good. General contractor, 32, and site is still 32. Now, that's probably more up to date with the changes, any changes or things that came up. So we have that. For the overall, budget was about 4.1 million. Contracts, owner's rep, and everything else. So I'm gonna go over this with Al after. Right now, we have about 148,000 left in the contingencies in the contracts, which we can't take out. But it looks like I'm gonna fall short. Now, this is budget, and I may not, of the things that I estimated, which is all the insurance, the owner's rep, special inspections for the abatement, the FF&E desk, which I haven't ordered yet, cameras, fobs, or hardware, and then the stuff that I have my crew do, the materials. They did a lot of stuff while the project was going on in the winter themselves. So I'm still in the budget phase of a lot of that stuff, and I think I'm gonna save, I do know the special inspections was $38,000, and that was that's literally to pay somebody to monitor the air the whole time they're abating. You know, that has to come, we have to hire them separately. It has to be a third party. So that was a big expense. I did miss the mark on that one. I didn't know, you know, I had no idea how much it was gonna cost or how long it was gonna go. But it looks right now that without finishing, I'm gonna be about 35,000 over in my part of it, but the contracts, you know, the contingency in the contract right now is close to 150. I don't believe we're gonna end up saying that. So at some point, I'm gonna probably talk to Al and maybe ask for, you know, a budget amendment to add into that 35,000, knowing that we're gonna get it back out of the contingencies eventually. So I think we're gonna end up, all the number crunching I've been done, we're gonna end up to the good on the project. Not a lot, we're going, you know, being a remodel, but I think we're gonna end up.
Quickly for Al, I think, and I'm very glad he's ended up with good. If we end up, you know, in the black on this project, does it have any ARPA ramifications? If we hadn't spent the money that we said we were gonna spend
So-
for
The good news that I found out that brought my stress level considerably down. While you had to have everything encumbered by December of 24, they are going to allow us to move money between projects that were already encumbered. So there are other places that I can spend his unspent money that are already in the ARPA plan.
Okay.
So worst case, if he has money left over, I'll come to you with a way to use that money with ease, so.
ARPA. All right.
Good thing to know.
Spending money is so hard up there.
I will find a happy home.
As long as we're allowed to do that.
Yes, sir.
So there is, you know, there is some things that I think I don't really want to pull the trigger, but in the next 3 weeks before finance, I will know a lot more. Like I'll know what the FF&E, like what I'm gonna be spending out of that. Like I have budgeted 50. I don't know where I am right now. But I don't think it's gonna be that much, so I may be able to balance that out by the time I start doing some of these more detailed. Which would help if we didn't have to do any sort of budget transfer. I want to work with Al, you know, I'm probably sit down with him maybe later this week if one of us or both of us get time and just go over all three of them. So I can put together, you know, a sheet like this and it's something that you guys can read and see, whatever.
Any other questions for Matt? Any update on, Labella's gonna get back to you?
So they promised by the July meeting that they would have the proposal. Obviously, we're gonna probably sit down, when they give us the first proposal, we're gonna sit down with Dave, Melissa and I, and just make sure the proposal is what we're looking for, that we all talked about, and then if there's any edits, they can change it, and we'll have it ready for government ops in July. Thank you. Anything else? That's all I have. Don't run away. Brandon.
Hello.
I am here. I've been going back and forth with personnel about my account clerk position. Just kind of putting together all the job that the position does. And we kind of talked about seeing if you guys would be open to me changing the account clerk position to a real property tax clerk, more specialized position. It will help me, I'm thinking, keep somebody longer than just getting in on the ground floor here. I would want the grade to be changed for the pay. As I explained to all of you guys during the department head evaluation, like how in-depth that clerk position is. So I feel that that could be something that could help me, you know, keep somebody long enough to learn entirely the position that that they need to do, like all the tasks they need to do in that position.
So do you know what the grade change would be?
Personnel was thinking, I believe it's an 8 now, and they wanted to move it to 10. But Danielle said, you know, we would talk about that more once I get the okay from you guys for, you know, the change. I know it's gonna be a cost going forward, like next year, but with the breakage that I have in staffing now, I feel that and I'm gonna talk to Al if I get approved here, to make sure by the time I'm looking, probably timeline will probably be September by the time realistically that we're gonna be either starting to interview or in the interview processes. So by then I should have enough from breakage from not having it work right now to cover for the rest of the year. With the grade change, however, it would be, you know, more of a cost going forward.
So is that position open now? Or?
Yes, it's open, so I wouldn't fill it. You know, we would change it and
So I guess my question was, do we need to move this from here to personnel and to finance, or does it go to, so I'll make a motion to move it to personnel.
Moved by Sam, second by Lance.
And what would you want? And do you want us to figure out what grade change it would be and everything for
Yep.
personnel?
So when it comes before the personnel committee, we have everything here to make a decision on some finance.
What would the, two things, what would be the difference in pay grade between 8 and 10? What kind of money are we talking?
Probably about $2 or less than.
Yeah, I think 150-ish. 150, right now, you know, grade change from 8 to 10, do you know?
It's less than $2 an hour.
Yeah,
Let's bring they had 2,080 hours.
That's about $4 a year.
Yeah, with that.
Now, Al, you mentioned to me one time, or maybe to a group I was overhearing you on, that we have about $1 million a year breakage in payroll. And so that allows us to be able to apply that towards next year's budget. We've been doing a lot of this, changing things during the year because they have enough money in their budget. Is this, how much do you think it's gonna impact? Are we gonna still have that $1 million carryover and breakage?
My guess is yes, because you do that to me every year.
Because I what?
Not you personally, you, the collective, you do that to me you say no changes during the year and then you make them anyway, so.
No, but you still will have about $1 million.
And in the next month or so, I'll start doing those payroll projections for the budget officer as he kicks off the budget season.
Mhm.
So I'll be able to confirm or deny that breakage is still looking. But we start looking end of June, beginning of July at what those, we start making year-end projections about mid-year. So we'll start seeing some of those numbers come to fruition soon. And I can report back what I believe the payroll breakage looks like.
Because we depend on that. That's the thing.
My fund balance depends.
Right, yeah, well, fund balance. It's
All
still,
right.
we depend on it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dan?
Hey, I'm not gonna live with this next year anyway, so why would I even try to fight it? I'm just trying to caution everybody. Yes.
All right, carries. Thanks, Miranda.
thank you.
Any other business coming before the committee? Sam?
Blown away. So at this point in time, I would like to call the Washington County Board of Supervisors Personnel Committee meeting for the 24th of June 2025. Order at 11:03, please.
So. Joint meeting, so, I'm trying to figure out, do we have a quorum of the personnel committee?
Yes. We have,
Before and for.
we have, yeah, myself,
Talk to the Cassie.
Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Nolan, and Mr. Tall.
I'll add in other, sorry.
Yeah, give us.
Oh,
We
sorry.
can wait till next month if it's a
No.
problem.
We haven't done executive session yet.
I just yesterday, and I apologize for not being on the agenda, but it came yesterday and the sooner we act on it, the better for the county. Our audit firm has offered a 3-year extension at a very, what I believe to be a reasonable price. They're, 3 years and 3% increase over the 3 years, 3% each year. And this is one of the places I talked about efficiencies in my office earlier. These guys, instead of having to pay staff, to be in my office for 3 weeks. We do a lot of stuff through a file upload that they look at in Buffalo. And they're only on site for 1 week. So they can keep the cost of the county down because they're not paying staff and travel time, hotels, and hourly wages to be here on site. So I would like a waiver from the procurement policy to continue working with EFPR Group for another 3-year extension on our current contract.
I'll move it to.
It's 52,000 for 25, 53,500 for 26, and 55 for 27. And I think we were over that with the old auditor 8 years ago.
Sam moved it, Jim seconded it. Any further discussion?
How many man hours about does it take to perform an audit for us?
So I don't know how many man hours they spend in Buffalo,
Yeah,
but they normally have 3 staff on site for 5 days, 8 hours a day.
15 minutes.
So, but I don't know what the preparatory work is. So one of the beautiful things about working with this company is we use an FTP site. And once my numbers are finalized, I just start uploading all kinds of documents for them. So they already have their samplings ready when they come. They already have the variances that they're uncomfortable with have already been identified. So it really cuts down on the amount of staff time they need on site.
Do they let you know their approximate billable hours rate is 175, 225?
If I asked, they would for sure.
Yeah, would just be kind of nice to bring it to a metric.
Yeah, and of course, the team leader has a different billable rate than the associates, and
Yeah.
but they would absolutely share that.
I need a resolution to extend the contract, or is it already built in the contract?
I don't need a resolution, is my understanding.
Waiver.
Al, is the contract a set amount for the audit?
Yes, it's a flat
Okay.
dollar amount.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Charlie, you were just asking to see what the
Right,
billable hours.
Right, yes.
Okay,
He wants to see how the spaghetti sauce is made. So
Yeah.
that's cool. We can do that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
I have
Sure.
one more
Opposed.
other.
So close.
One more other, there was a request brought to finance, for a Fort Ann parcel that was vacant and unbuildable. It was approved for us to go ahead and sell that. We were having discussions yesterday on the best way to do that, whether we put it out for auction, send it to the auction company, or if we just put it on the website and have, sealed bids turned into the treasurer by such date. We were thinking that might be the best option. Just wanted to make sure that that was something you were all on board with. So we just advertised that unbuildable vacant property in Fort Ann on the website and then have the bids turned into the treasurer to be open.
Which is the process we use right now for leftover auction properties. It's a process we already have in place.
Need a motion? That's by Jim, second by Sam. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Are you done with?
Now we're done.
Patty?
We're done.
I will now entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of.
Review of the appointed district person.
Thank you.
Jim, second by Lance.
Already been, ready to get personnel.